The lights in the United Nations Assembly Hall dimmed as Ambassador Frank Miller stepped onto the stage. His heart beat fast in his chest. Today would change human history forever. The large screens behind him lit up, showing the face of an alien being. The creature had gray-blue skin, 4 eyes, and spoke through a translator device. People of Earth, I am Zixvaran, representative of the Galactic Confederation. We welcome you to the interstellar community, the alien said. The room erupted in applause. After years of wondering if humans were alone in the universe, they finally had their answer. It was the year 2089, and Earth had made first contact. Ambassador. Miller smiled and shook hands with Zixvaran. Cameras flashed. News outlets worldwide broadcast the historic meeting. No one noticed the small smile that appeared on Zixvaran's face. No one except Diane Sawyer. Major Sawyer stood in the back of the room, watching carefully. As part of Earth's military delegation, she was there to observe. Something about the alien's expression bothered her. It looked like the smile of someone who had just found an easy target. 3 months passed. The Galactic Confederation moved. Quickly, they offered Earth membership in their organization and access to new technologies. In return, they wanted resources: iron, copper, uranium, water, and rare elements. The deal seemed fair to most people. Earth would trade what it had. Plenty of for advanced technology. President William Boyd signed the treaty with great ceremony. This marks a new chapter for humanity, he announced. With the help of our new friends, we will reach the stars. Major Sawyer wasn't convinced. She had been promoted to oversee the first resource shipments to Confederation worlds. The amounts they wanted seemed excessive. When she raised concerns, her superiors told her not to make trouble. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, Sawyer, General Peters told her. We're getting star drives and medical technology that will save millions of lives. Some rocks and water are a small price to pay. But Sawyer couldn't shake her doubts. She began collecting data on the shipments. The numbers didn't add up. Earth was sending far more than it was receiving. 6 months after first contact, the first human colony ships left for Mars and Europa. The Confederation provided transport and helped set up the bases. Lieutenant Greg Howard was assigned to security. For the Europa colony, he was excited at first. Space travel had been his dream since childhood. The reality was different. The human workers lived in small, cramped quarters while the alien overseers had spacious facilities. The humans worked long shifts extracting ice and minerals. The work was hard and dangerous. This wasn't what I expected, Howard told his friend Sam as they ate in the colony cafeteria. It feels more like a mining operation than a colony. That's exactly what it is, Sam replied. We're just glorified mine workers. Howard started paying closer attention to the operation. He noticed that the aliens kept certain technologies restricted. Humans were allowed to operate equipment but not understand or repair it. Anytime someone asked too many questions, they were reassigned to more difficult work areas. Back on Earth, Dr. Alan Peterson worked in the new Joint Technology Division. His job was to study the alien technology and adapt it for human use. The Confederation provided educational materials and basic tools, but Peterson quickly realized something strange. They're giving us outdated information, he told his assistant. One night when they were alone in the lab. I've compared what they've shared with what I've seen their ships do. They're holding back at least 2 generations of advancement. Peterson began keeping 2 sets of notes. One official set that he shared with the Confederation advisors and a private set with his real findings. He started a secret project to reverse engineer the alien technology without their knowledge. Major Sawyer continued gathering data. She discovered that other newcomer species to the Confederation had received much better deals. Some were given technology in exchange for cultural artifacts or knowledge. None were being stripped of resources like Earth. During an official reception, Sawyer overheard 2 Confederation officials talking. Her translator picked up their conversation. The humans are so eager to please, one said. They don't even realize. They're being harvested. The Vralxi Empire will be pleased, the other replied. This planet will supply their needs for at least 20 cycles before it's depleted. Sawyer felt cold fear run through her body. Harvested, depleted, these weren't the words of allies or friends. On Europa, Howard had been documenting safety violations and worker mistreatment. When he filed official complaints, they disappeared from the system. One day, he found a hidden storage area. Inside were weapons, far more advanced than anything the aliens had shown humans. He took pictures with his personal device before security arrived. "Lieutenant Howard, this area is restricted," the alien security chief said. "Your access has been revoked. You will return to Earth on the next transport." Howard knew he was in danger. He copied his evidence to a secure chip and hid it in his personal items. He needed to get this information to someone who would listen back. On Earth, Dr. Peterson made a breakthrough. He managed to access the alien computer systems and discovered files about Earth. The Confederation classified humans as Level 2 primitives. They were described as physically weak, technologically backward, but numerous and resource-rich. The files contained plans for increasing resource extraction by 300% within 5 years. One night, Major Sawyer received an encrypted message. It was from Lieutenant Howard, recently returned from Europa. "Need to meet. Have critical information. Not secure to discuss electronically." They met in a park in Washington, D.C. Howard showed Sawyer the evidence he had collected. "They're preparing for something," he said. "Those weapons I found weren't defensive. They're keeping us weak on purpose." "We need more help," Sawyer replied. She contacted Dr. Peterson, whose name she had found in classified reports about technology. Transferred. The three met in Peterson's lab after hours. They shared their findings and fears. "The Confederation, or at least the Vrauxi Empire that seems to control it, is exploiting us," Sawyer said. "They're taking our resources and giving us scraps in return. And they're making sure we don't advance too quickly," Peterson added. "The technology they're sharing is carefully controlled. Nothing that would help us defend ourselves." Howard nodded. "We need to warn people. We need to prepare." They looked at each other, three humans who had glimpsed the truth behind first contact. Earth wasn't being welcomed to the stars. It was being set up for exploitation, and they were the only ones who knew. "This stays between us for now," Sawyer said finally. "We need more evidence, more allies, then we can act." Little did they know that their discovery was just the beginning. Earth's journey from newcomer to nightmare had taken its first step. 5 years had passed since Earth joined the Galactic Confederation. What once seemed like a blessing now felt like a curse. Earth's resources flowed to the stars while its people gained little in return. The mining operations on Mars and Europa had expanded. New colonies on Titan and Ganymede struggled under alien oversight. Earth itself had given up vast areas of its oceans and uninhabited lands for Confederation use. Colonel Diane Sawyer looked out the window of her office at the Pentagon. She had been promoted, but only after agreeing to stop asking questions about resource quotas. Now she worked in the shadows, gathering information and building a network of like-minded people. Her secure phone buzzed. It was Dr. Alan Peterson. "We need to meet," he said simply. "Lab 7, midnight." Lab 7 was hidden beneath Peterson's official research facility. Over the years, he had assembled a team of brilliant scientists who shared his concerns about the Confederation. They worked in secret, reverse engineering alien technology and making their own improvements. When Sawyer arrived, Peterson was waiting with Commander Greg Howard. Howard had been reinstated after his return from Europa, but assigned to a desk job. Like Sawyer, he had used his position to gather intelligence and allies. "We've made a breakthrough," Peterson said, leading them to a sealed room. Inside was a small device glowing with blue light. "This is our version of their quantum communicator, but ours is better. It can't be monitored by their systems." Sawyer looked impressed. "How did you manage that?" "They underestimate us," Peterson replied. "They think humans can only copy, not innovate. We studied their tech and found weaknesses they never considered." Howard nodded. "We've been using similar tactics in military intelligence. My team has mapped the locations of every confederation. Outpost in our system. We've identified their weak points. Sawyer shared her own news. I've been analyzing their patrol patterns. They're deliberately keeping us isolated from other species. Anytime our ships try to make contact with other newcomers to the Confederation, they're intercepted. That confirms what we found in there. Communications, Peterson said. They don't want us comparing notes with other exploited worlds. Their meeting was interrupted by an alert on Howard's secure tablet. You need to see this, he said, pulling up a video feed. It showed a news broadcast about President Olivia Russell's latest speech. Russell had been elected on a platform of caution toward the Confederation. At first, many dismissed her as paranoid. Now, more people were listening. Fellow citizens of Earth, Russell said on the screen. Today I have ordered a temporary halt to all resource shipments to Confederation worlds. We will resume only when fair terms are negotiated. The three looked at each other in surprise and concern. She's making a bold move, Sawyer said. The Confederation won't like this. The response came faster than anyone expected. The next day, Ambassador Tasmeric of the Galaxy Empire demanded a meeting with President Russell. The meeting was broadcast worldwide. Your actions violate our agreement, Tasmeric said. His four eyes blinking in what humans had learned was a sign of anger. The consequences will be severe if shipments do not resume immediately. President Russell stood her ground. The agreement has already been violated by the Confederation. Earth has given far more than it has received. We simply ask for fair treatment. Tasmeric's skin darkened, another sign of anger. You will regret this decision. He left without further discussion. 3 days later, a Confederation ship attacked a human transport vessel near Mars. The transport carried scientists and supplies, not military personnel. It seemed the Confederation wanted to send a message. What the aliens didn't know was that the transport had a secret escort. The USS Defiant, a ship built using Peterson's reverse-engineered technology, had been hiding in the shadow of Mars when the Confederation vessel fired on the transport. The Defiant emerged. Captain Sofia Rodriguez commanded the Defiant. Attention, Confederation vessel. Cease your attack immediately. The alien ship ignored the warning and continued firing. The transport was badly damaged. All weapons fire. Rodriguez ordered. The Defiant released a barrage of energy weapons far more powerful than the aliens expected from humans. The Confederation ship's shields failed almost instantly. Its engines were crippled by the second volley. This is your final warning, Rodriguez transmitted. Surrender or be destroyed. The alien ship tried to send a distress signal, but the Defiant jammed its communications. When the Confederation vessel attempted one last attack, Rodriguez gave the order to finish it. The human ship fired its main cannon. The alien vessel exploded in a brilliant flash of light. News of the battle spread quickly through human colonies and leaked to Confederation worlds. Humans, the supposedly weak newcomers, had destroyed an advanced Confederation warship. The Galactic Council called an emergency session to discuss the human problem. Back on Earth, President Russell addressed the United Nations. Today marks a new chapter for humanity, she said, echoing the words spoken 5 years earlier when Earth joined the Confederation. We offered friendship and received exploitation. We offered cooperation and received domination, no more. She revealed what Sawyer, Howard, and Peterson had discovered about the Confederation's true intentions. Then she announced the formation of the Earth Defense Force, a military organization dedicated to protecting human interests. In his secret lab, Peterson showed Sawyer and Howard his latest creation. We call it the Phoenix Drive, he said, pointing to a massive engine. It will make our ships faster than anything in the Confederation fleet. Howard smiled. We've already begun construction of 50 vessels equipped with our new weapon systems. The aliens think they know what humans can do. They have no idea. Sawyer, now promoted to admiral, looked at the star map on the wall. Human colonies were marked in blue, Confederation outposts in red. We start with our colonies, free our people from alien control. Then we show the galaxy that humans will not be victims. In the Galaxy Empire's capital, the Emperor received the news about the destroyed ship. His advisors recommended caution, suggesting that humans might be more dangerous than they had appeared. The Emperor dismissed their concerns. One lucky. Victory does not make them a threat. Increase military presence in the Sol system. Show these primitives the consequences of defiance. It was the biggest mistake the Empire would ever make. Humans were done being the newcomers. The nightmare was about to begin. 10 years had passed since first contact. Earth had changed in ways no alien could have predicted. What began as secret labs and hidden ships had grown into a formidable defense force. Humans worked day and night, united by a common purpose. To never be victims again, Admiral Diane Sawyer stood on the bridge of the EDF Vengeance, Earth's first true battleship. Around her, officers monitored systems that had not existed 3 years ago. The ship was massive, nearly a mile long, with weapons that could tear through Confederation shields like paper. "Status report," Sawyer ordered. "All systems ready, Admiral," replied her second-in-command. "The fleet is in position." Sawyer nodded. Earth now had 30 major warships and over 100 smaller vessels, all built in secret facilities hidden in asteroid belts and on the dark side of the moon, all waiting for the order to move. On Earth, Dr. Alan Peterson addressed President Russell and her cabinet. His hair had gone gray, but his eyes still burned with intensity. "The Vroxy don't understand what they've done," Peterson said. "By isolating us, they forced us to innovate. By threatening us, they united us. Every piece of technology they shared, we've improved upon." He displayed holographic images of Earth's latest advancements. AI systems that could predict enemy movements. Energy weapons that drew power directly from quantum fields. Shields that adapted to attacks in real time. "Most importantly," Peterson continued, "we've developed something they never considered possible." He showed them a small device. This neural interface allows our pilots to connect directly with their ships. In combat, this gives us reaction times 10 times faster than any Confederation species. President Russell looked impressed. "And they have no idea we've developed all this?" "None," Peterson confirmed. "They still think we're struggling with basic star drives." At Lunar Colony Alpha, Commander Greg Howard, now General Howard, supervised the final preparations for Earth's response. For years, the colony had appeared to be a simple mining operation. In reality, it was a fortress. Deep beneath the surface, 10,000 soldiers trained in new combat techniques. Weapon caches and defense systems waited, hidden from Confederation. Sensors. Howard checked his watch. It was almost time. President Russell was about to deliver Earth's response to the years of exploitation on screens across the solar system. Russell appeared before the Galactic Council. The alien representatives watched with various expressions, some curious, some concerned, some dismissive. "Members of the Galactic Council," Russell began, "for 10 years, Earth has been a member of your Confederation. For 10 years, we have provided resources while receiving little in return. Today, this changes." She formally rejected the original treaties and demanded new negotiations based on equality, not exploitation. The Vroxy representative, Tazmarek, stood up immediately. "These demands are unacceptable. Earth agreed to its terms. If you refuse to honor them, there will be consequences." Russell remained calm. "We are prepared for your consequences, Ambassador. Are you prepared for ours?" The transmission ended. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Most believed this was simply human bravado. The Vroxy knew better. Their spies had reported increased activity in the Sol system. Nothing concerning, just unusual movements and unexplained energy signatures. Still, the Emperor decided to make an example of Earth. 3 days later, a Vroxy battle group approached Earth's lunar colony. 15 warships against what they believed was an undefended mining facility. Their sensors showed minimal defenses and no military presence. The Vroxy commander sent a simple message: "Surrender or be destroyed." No response came from the colony. The Vroxy ships moved closer, weapons charged. They fired a warning shot that struck the colony's outer dome. Air escaped into space. It seemed like an easy victory. Then everything changed. The moon's surface opened in a dozen places. Hidden weapon platforms emerged and fired in perfect unison. 3 Vroxy ships were destroyed in the first volley. 4 more were crippled. Vroxy commander was stunned. Impossible. Our scans showed no weapons. From the dark side of the moon came Earth's response fleet, 10 warships led by Admiral Sawyer's Vengeance. They moved faster than any human ships the Vroxy had seen before. "This is Admiral Sawyer of the Earth Defense Force," her message played on all Vroxy frequencies. "You fired on an Earth colony. Now you will see how humans respond to aggression." The battle lasted less than 20 minutes. The Vroxy ships were superior in size and theoretically in firepower, but they couldn't hit what they couldn't predict. Human ships moved in patterns no alien tactical computer could analyze. Human weapons found weaknesses in Vroxy shields that the aliens didn't know existed. When it was over, 13 Vroxy ships were destroyed. The remaining 2 were captured intact. News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than any Confederation sensors could contain it. Humans, the supposedly primitive newcomers, had destroyed an elite Vroxy battle group. The impossible had happened. On Earth, President Russell addressed the United Nations once more. "Today we showed the galaxy that humans will not be exploited," she said. "We do not seek war, we seek respect. We offer friendship to any species that treats us as equals." Her speech was broadcast not just to Earth, but to every world in the Confederation. The Vroxy tried to block the transmission, but human hackers ensured it reached even their core worlds. Several smaller species in the Confederation, those who had also suffered under Vroxy dominance, sent secret messages to Earth. They offered alliances, information, and support against their common oppressor. General Howard personally led the operation to free the human colonies on Mars, Europa, and beyond. The Confederation overseers surrendered quickly when they saw Earth's new military capabilities. Human colonists cheered as Earth ships arrived, bringing supplies and removing alien restrictions. In his palace on the Vroxy homeworld, the Emperor received the reports with growing rage. Humans had not only defied the Empire but humiliated it. This could not stand. "They have forgotten their place," the Emperor told his war council. "These humans have some clever tricks and a few advanced weapons, nothing more. They cannot stand against the full might of our empire." He declared humans a galactic threat that must be contained or eliminated if necessary. The Vroxy began mobilizing their main battle fleets, pulling forces from across their territory. What the Emperor didn't understand was that the battle at the lunar colony wasn't humanity's full strength. It was just the beginning. Earth had been preparing for this moment for years. The nightmare was only starting to unfold. 20 years after first contact, the galaxy had changed forever. Earth was no longer just defending its solar system. Humanity had gone on the offensive. Fleet Admiral Diane Sawyer stood before a holographic map showing hundreds of star systems. Red markers indicated Vroxy territory, blue showed Earth-controlled space, and green represented allied species who had joined with humans against their former oppressors. "The Vroxy have pulled back to these systems," Sawyer said, pointing to a cluster of red dots. "They're consolidating their forces for a major counterattack." The War Council listened carefully. President Russell, now in her second term, sat at the head of the table. General Howard stood next to Sawyer, his uniform decorated with medals. From a dozen battles, Dr. Lisa Morgan, who had taken over when Dr. Peterson retired, represented the science division. "Their tactics are becoming predictable," Howard said. "They still think in terms of overwhelming force. They don't understand our approach to warfare," Dr. Morgan nodded. "And they certainly don't understand what we've become." She activated a hologram showing a human soldier in advanced combat armor. "The latest biological enhancements allow our troops to survive in environments that would kill unmodified humans. Increased strength, reaction time, and sensory perception give us significant advantages in ground combat." President Russell studied the reports. "And our fleet capabilities?" Sawyer smiled slightly. "We now have over 200 major warships and 500 support vessels. But more importantly, we have better trained crews and more innovative tactics. The Vralxi still haven't adapted to our style of fighting. That style had become legendary across the galaxy. Human ships would appear where least expected, strike with devastating force, and disappear before the enemy could respond. Human captains made decisions that alien commanders considered insane, but they worked. The unpredictability terrified the Confederation forces. What about our allies? Russell asked. The Alliance of Free Worlds now includes 17 former Confederation species, Howard replied. We've shared defensive technology with all of them. They provide intelligence and support operations. Russell stood up. Then it's time for the next phase. Operation Distant Thunder is approved. 3 weeks later, General Howard led Earth's first major interstellar strike force toward Proxima Centauri. The star system had been turned into a major Vralxi military base after their defeats in the Sol system. Intelligence suggested 50 Vralxi warships were stationed there. Howard commanded from the EDF Retribution, with 12 advanced battleships under his command. By conventional military logic, the mission was suicide. The Vralxi outnumbered them 4-1. But humans no longer fought by conventional logic. As the Earth fleet approached, Howard addressed his captains. Remember the Hornet's Nest doctrine. When they strike at one of us, we strike back 10 times harder. Today we bring the fight to their doorstep. The Vralxi detected the human fleet and moved to intercept. Their commander, Admiral Xarvox, was confident. Finally, these humans show themselves. Their arrogance will be their downfall. What happened next would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for centuries. Howard split his fleet into 4 groups of 3 ships each. The Vralxi formation, designed to counter this tactic, spread out to engage all groups simultaneously. But this was exactly what Howard wanted. Execute Operation Ghost Protocol, Howard ordered. All 12 Earth ships activated their quantum displacement drives simultaneously. To Vralxi sensors, it appeared as if the human fleet had vanished completely. In reality, they had shifted slightly out of phase with normal spacetime, becoming invisible and untouchable for exactly 45 seconds. The Vralxi ships, suddenly facing no enemy, broke formation in confusion. When the Earth fleet reappeared, they were inside the Vralxi formation, firing at point-blank range. 20 Vralxi ships were destroyed in the first minute. The rest tried to regroup, but Earth vessels were already executing their next maneuver. Each battleship released dozens of drone fighters controlled by AI systems that could react 100 times faster than living pilots. Admiral Xarvox watched in horror as his fleet was torn apart. This is impossible. No species fights like this. By the time the battle ended, 45 Vralxi ships had been destroyed. The remaining 5 surrendered. Earth had lost only 2 vessels, and even those crews had managed to evacuate safely. The Battle of Proxima Centauri, as it came to be known, shocked the galaxy. The Vralxi Empire, which had dominated the Confederation for 1,000 years, had suffered a devastating defeat. Their military reputation, built on centuries of victories, was shattered in a single day. News of the human victory spread rapidly. More species broke away from the Confederation, seeking alliances with Earth. The Alliance of Free Worlds grew stronger with each passing month. On Earth, the victory was celebrated, but the War Council was already planning their next moves. Fleet. Admiral Sawyer implemented what she called the ripple effect strategy. Instead of focusing all forces on major Vralxi strongholds, Earth ships would target supply lines, communication centers, and smaller outposts. The Vralxi Empire would be dismantled piece by piece. President Russell addressed the Alliance of Free Worlds representatives. We do not seek to replace the Vralxi as galactic oppressors, she assured them. Earth wants only security for itself and its allies. When this conflict ends, all species will determine their own futures. The promise of freedom resonated with worlds that had lived under Confederation control for generations. The alliance expanded to include 30 species. Then 40. In the Vralxi Imperial Palace, the Emperor faced growing unrest. Several provinces were demanding peace negotiations with the humans. Military leaders questioned the war strategy. For The first time in recorded history, the Vralxi Empire was fracturing from within. "These humans must be stopped," the Emperor declared. "They spread chaos throughout the galaxy. They turn our allies against us. They fight without honor or predictability." His advisors presented a desperate plan. The Empire would gather every available ship for one final massive assault on Earth itself. Nearly 300 warships would strike the human homeworld, overwhelming its defenses through sheer numbers. "Once Earth falls, the Alliance will crumble," the Imperial strategist argued. "The other species follow humans out of fear and opportunity, not loyalty." The Emperor approved the plan. Secret communications went out to all Vralxi fleets, ordering them to converge for the attack. What the Emperor didn't know was that human intelligence had already intercepted these communications. Dr. Morgan's code-breaking team had cracked the Vralxi encryption months ago. Fleet Admiral Sawyer read the intercepted orders and smiled grimly. "So they want to end this with one big battle? Good. I'm tired of chasing them across the galaxy." The stage was set for the final confrontation between Earth and the Vralxi Empire. The newcomers that had once been dismissed as primitives were about to complete their transformation into the galaxy's most feared force. 50 years had passed since humans first learned they were not alone in the universe. What began as exploitation had transformed into revolution. Earth, once seen as an easy target, was now spoken of in whispers across thousands of worlds. Admiral Nicole Chun stood on the bridge of the EDF Redemption, the largest human warship ever built. At 3 miles long, it carried weapons that could shatter moons. Chun had trained under Fleet Admiral Sawyer before the older woman retired. Now she commanded Earth's combined fleet of over 500 vessels. "Status report," Chun ordered as she studied the holographic display showing the approaching Vralxi armada. 312 enemy ships detected, Admiral," her tactical officer replied. "They'll reach Earth orbit in 6 hours," Chun nodded calmly, "just as intelligence predicted. Alert all fleet commanders, Operation Final Stand is now active." Throughout the Sol system, hidden defense platforms powered up. Ships that had been hiding in asteroid fields and behind moons moved into position. Earth had known this day was coming. They were ready. On Earth, President Jason Grant addressed the unified governments of humanity. The old nations still existed, but they now worked together under a single planetary authority. "Today the Vralxi Empire comes to our home with destruction in mind," Grant said. "They believe this will be our final hour. They are wrong. This will be their final lesson." In the science complex beneath the Himalayas, Dr. Lisa Morgan made last-minute adjustments to Earth's planetary shield system. The technology had been considered impossible by Confederation scientists. Humans had made it work through sheer determination and creativity. "Shield capacity at 100%, Morgan reported. "If their weapons are what we expect, we can withstand their bombardment for at least 72 hours. Throughout human-controlled space, allied species watched and waited. Many had sent ships to join Earth's defense. Others provided intelligence and support. All understood that this battle would determine the future of the galaxy. The Vralxi Emperor himself commanded the attack fleet from his flagship. He had staked everything on this assault. Every available ship, every elite soldier, every advanced weapon the Empire possessed had been committed to crushing Earth once and for all. "These humans have been allowed to spread their chaos for too long," the Emperor told his commanders. "Today we remind the galaxy why the Vralxi Empire has ruled for 1,000 years. What the Emperor didn't know was that Earth had prepared a surprise. While the main Vralxi fleet approached Earth, a human strike force led by General Howard had jumped to the Vralxi homeworld. Using stealth technology developed by Dr. Morgan's team, 40 human ships had slipped past the reduced defenses. As the Vralxi fleet came within striking distance of Earth, Admiral Chun gave the order. "All ships, engage as planned. Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth today. We're fighting for every species that has suffered under Vralxi rule." The space around Earth erupted in weapons fire. Vralxi ships launched their first assault, expecting to overwhelm human defenses with sheer numbers. Instead, they found an integrated defense network unlike anything they had faced before, automated defense platforms fired with perfect coordination. Human ships moved in patterns that seemed random but were part of a complex strategy. And Earth itself was protected by the shield that glowed blue around the planet. The Emperor watched in growing concern as his first attack wave failed to break through. Continue the assault, their defenses cannot hold forever. For 24 hours, the battle raged around Earth. The Vralxi lost ships at an alarming rate, but they had numbers to spare. Slowly, they began to wear down the human fleet. Several defense platforms were destroyed. The planetary shield flickered as it absorbed tremendous energy. Then Admiral Chun received the message she had been waiting for. Message from General Howard, Admiral. Operation Checkmate is complete. Chun allowed herself a small smile. Send to all ships. Execute Phase 2. The human fleet suddenly changed tactics. Instead of defending, they launched an all-out attack on the Vralxi command ships. The Emperor's flagship found itself surrounded by 5 human battleships. At that moment, on every communication channel across the Vralxi fleet, General Howard's voice was heard. Attention, Vralxi Empire. While you were focused on Earth, we took your homeworld. Your palace is under our control. Your government has surrendered. Video feeds showed human troops in the Imperial Palace. The Vralxi throne room was filled. With Earth soldiers, the Imperial family was in custody. This is not possible, the Emperor whispered. Our homeworld had defenses. Not anymore, came Howard's reply. You left your home undefended to attack ours. A mistake we would never make. The Emperor's advisors confirmed the terrible truth. The human strike force had conquered the Vralxi homeworld in just 72 hours. The government had collapsed with surprising speed. Many Vralxi citizens, tired of endless war, had actually welcomed the humans as liberators. The choice is yours, Emperor, Admiral Chun transmitted. Continue this pointless battle and lose both your fleet and your homeworld, or surrender and save what remains of your people. For the first time in 1,000 years, a Vralxi emperor surrendered. The Battle of Earth was over. The war that had raged across the galaxy for decades had ended not with Earth's destruction, but with its complete victory. 3 months later, representatives from over 100 species gathered on Earth for the formation of the new Galactic Union. The Confederation was dissolved. In its place would be an alliance of equals, with no species permitted to dominate another. President Grant delivered what would become known as the Nightmares and Dreams speech to the assembled delegates. 50 years ago, we were newcomers. To the stars, he said. We were exploited, underestimated, and threatened. We became what we needed to be to survive the nightmare that haunted those who sought to control us. Now that nightmare ends? Today we begin building a dream instead, a galaxy where all species can determine their own destiny. The new Galactic Union established the Interstellar Peacekeeping Force with Admiral Chun as its first commander. Ships from many worlds would serve together to protect all member species from aggression. In the reception following the ceremony, 2 alien diplomats spoke quietly in a corner. Did you ever imagine it would end like this? Asked the delegate from the Tulare Republic. Humans were nothing when they joined the Confederation. Now they shaped the fate of the galaxy. The Vralxi made a fundamental error, replied the Zenth. Ambassador, they saw human adaptability as a weakness. They thought humans would bend to pressure like all the others. Instead, humans became something new, the Tulare nodded. Something terrifying. The old emperor said it best before his execution, the Zenth added. He called it the galaxy's greatest mistake, transforming newcomers into a nightmare. Across the room, Admiral Chen spoke with General Howard and Dr. Morgan. The 3 leaders of humanity's rise to power looked out at the diverse gathering of species. Do you think we finally found peace? Morgan asked. Howard smiled slightly. I think we've found respect. Peace will follow. June raised her glass. To Earth, from newcomers to nightmares to neighbors. May we never forget where we came from or what we fought for. The galaxy would never again make the mistake of underestimating humans. The newcomers had become the most feared force in the galaxy, and now, perhaps, the most respected.